So 365 days ago, I was on the quest to build the ultimate stock portfolio. And if you guys remember 1 year ago, the new flashy thing was artificial intelligence. And I'm a software engineer by trade. I've used artificial intelligence before. Hell, I even built some models on my own. And so I thought to myself, if artificial intelligence is this great new thing that's here to solve all of our problems, I wonder if it can build me a stock portfolio. And that's exactly what I did. I took $1,000 of my own money and I put it all on the line, hoping that AI would take me to the land of the riches. And so with my money and my keyboard in hand, I went to ChatGPT and I asked it to draft me an investment portfolio where I can invest my $1,000. And this is what it gave me. So breaking down a ChatGPT's investment portfolio of my $1,000, it wanted me to take 30% of that and put it into the SPY. For anybody who doesn't know, SPY is just an S&P 500 index fund where a lot of people invest their money. It's one of the standard go-to investment vehicles for you to invest in. So 30% of my money went into this index fund. The second largest holding is IWM, which is a Russell 2000 index fund. So smaller cap companies, a little more risk, a little more profit if it goes well. And I put $150 into this fund. And another $150 went into Nvidia. Now, at the time, Nvidia was all over the news. It was the biggest company of all time. It overtook all of the big dogs out there because they had their foot in the AI space. And AI was obviously the biggest thing. And so this company was on the top of a lot of people's lists. And so ChatGPT, unshockingly had me put $150 into this stock. Fourth on the list was Tesla, and ChatGPT told me to invest $100 into this stock as well. Next on the list was Apple, and there's no surprises here. Apple is a household name. I'm shooting this on an iPhone. I'm sure you guys have an iPhone. Everybody knows Apple. It's a huge company. It's a pretty safe, stable stock, but it's also in tech, so it can go up quite dramatically as well. So no surprises here. ChatGPT had me invest $100 into this stock. Then there was VXUS, and this is an international index fund, so getting a little bit of exposure outside of the United States, and I invested $100 into this fund. And last but not least was XLE, which was another 10% holding, and XLE being a energy ETF. And so I put my full faith behind the artificial intelligence and I invested my cold hard cash into these holdings, and I waited 30 days and let things play out. But the funny thing is, I don't quite remember how that went.
It's not looking too pretty. It couldn't be going any worse, like if meatballs started falling from the sky. We got a lot of red out there. But I guess that's what you get when you let AI pick your stocks. It might just be a sign from God telling us not to use AI to pick our investments. This was the 10 days from hell.
So there I sat after those 30 days. My cash diminished. I was feeling down, but I wasn't out of it yet. I had not given up faith in the artificial intelligence, no. Instead, I decided to let this money sit in these investments for a full 365 days before giving up on it. So why don't we check out how that went? Before we get into the big reveal, let's do a quick little recap of those 30 days, taking a pit stop at each 10-day interval to see how the portfolio was playing out over that first month. So let's start here. 10 days into the investment journey, we can see that our overall portfolio was down 6.66%. Most of that coming from Tesla, which was down almost 20% in those first 10 days. Now, I remember at the time, Elon Musk was doing his whole Doge thing. He was getting a lot of heat for it. People were blowing up Teslas. They were keying it in parking lots. Everybody hated the man, and that reflected heavily in their share price. And that was followed closely behind by Nvidia, down almost 13%. A lot of the tech stocks were getting hammered. Trump was just doing tariffs, so the stock market was down in general. We can see the S&P 500 was down almost 4%. My portfolio, the AI invested portfolio, down 6.6%. Moving along to 20 days in, and oh my God, it got so much worse. down 13.30%. Most of that coming again from the usual suspects. Tesla down almost 40%, 37, and Nvidia down 25%. Ouch. These 10 days were more of the same. The news was bad and getting worse. People still hated Elon Musk. Nvidia was still giving back some of the profits they made in the year before, and the S&P 500 was down 8.36%. My AI portfolio down 13.3%. But we made a little bit of a bounce back in the final 10 days of this experiment, down only 10.28%, representing a nice 3% gain on the overall portfolio. The S&P 500 was only down 7.5%, so that clawed back a whole percentage point. Tesla was a big winner, clawing back almost 10% of the money that it threw away for me. Nvidia wasn't doing too bad either. It clawed back a little bit of its deficit. And we actually had some positions in the green, those being VXUS, our international stocks, up only 0.3%. But hey, green was green at the time, and XLE, our energy ETF, was up 2.44%. So over those 30 days, the S&P 500 was down 7.5%. Our AI portfolio did worse than that, down 10.28%. So if we cut it off there, then AI kind of screwed me over. It did worse than the overall market, and AI, yeah, sucks at picking stocks. Never do it. But we did not end it there. We kept it going for another 11 months. And what do you guys think? Do you think my portfolio ended up in the green? Do you think AI outperformed the S&P 500? Let's get into the numbers. And here we are. Woo-wee! Isn't that such a beautiful sight? Nothing but green across the board. God, couldn't be me, right? So let's get into it. A full 365 days of artificial intelligence investing my money for me. We can see Tesla finally clawed all of the money back and actually had a pretty good year, up 11.32%, made me a whole $11. Not too shabby, Elon Musk. Moving on to IWM, that's our Russell 2000 index. That had a fantastic year, up almost 20%. That's crazy, but it's not going to stop there. Our biggest winner, Nvidia, the gift that keeps on giving, up over 40%. Woo! Let's keep it moving. We got Apple, our stable blue chip stock, up a cool, calm, and collected 9.22%. That's great to hear. VXUS, our international friends across the pond, up 29.82%. They did a great job. That's our second highest performing asset in the portfolio, followed by our third highest, XLE, our energy ETF. That did pretty well, up 23%. And last but not least, the biggest holding in our portfolio, SPY, the S&P 500, up 14.72%. That gives our AI portfolio a 22.43% gain over 1 year time period. That's pretty impressive. Now, obviously, the entire stock market did pretty well over the past year, right? It wasn't just AI choosing me miracle stocks that made money when everything else was negative. Actually, it was kind of the opposite. At the start, when everything was negative, our AI portfolio was performing much worse. But on the flip side of that, when everything is performing good, our AI invested portfolio was doing even better. So there's give and takes there. And it looks like our good friend ChatGPT was able to outperform the market by almost 8%, which is pretty sweet. And I said this at the very beginning of this journey, and I'm going to say it again now. I was actually pretty pleased with the portfolio that the AI came up with. It was pretty solid. We had our S&P 500 index fund as our biggest holding. I mean, that's obviously a pretty good call. We had a Russell's 2000 index to get some of those smaller caps in there, but still diversified over a lot of different companies to not put too much risk into it. That's pretty good. We had our international fund to get some overseas exposure. That was pretty good. And then we had, a couple of individual stock picks that ended up doing very well. So is it the portfolio that I would personally do? No. I'm a keep it simple, stupid kind of guy. I put almost all of my money in the S&P 500 and I just let it ride. And then I don't have to think or worry about it. I don't have to check my phone and see that a Tesla factory blew up and Tesla's down 40%. But you can't deny that the AI had some good training data or whatever, and it put together a pretty good bucket of stocks for us to invest into. Now, would I recommend you to go do what I did and put your entire life savings in a portfolio that ChatGPT drew up for you? Absolutely not. You know, this is not financial advice, right? ChatGPT isn't going to pick you the miracle stocks. But if you've got questions about investing, if you have questions about different companies and stocks and index funds, I mean, ChatGPT is the first place that I would go for answers. Obviously, do your own research, everything like that, yada, yada, yada. You've probably heard it a million times before, but I'm very pleased with the portfolio outcomes. I mean, I might even just leave this money in here for another year or a couple of years. I don't know. I'd love to hear what you guys think down below in the comments. Should I keep the money in here and maybe do an update video, you know, a couple of years from now? Would you guys like to see that? Please let me know. Or should I just sell it all right now, take my profits and, you know, run to the hills? But that's going to do it for me today. 365 days in, and I finally made some money. So we'll take it. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, maybe leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Could be fantastic. But that's going to do it for me. Stay safe out there, everybody. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.